Apple already knows the exact date of the iPhone 18 Pro keynote, and based on 15 years of unbroken data, so do I. Not a guess, not a rumor, a pattern so consistent that the one time Apple broke it was 2020, and we all know 2020 was not a normal year. There's also something happening with this launch that I haven't seen a single channel address clearly yet. It changes who should buy the 18 Pro in September and who should genuinely wait until next year. We'll get to that. So here's what this covers. The release date prediction built on Apple's actual historical data, not speculation. The biggest design change to the iPhone in years, and the one camera feature that could genuinely change how you shoot. I went through every Apple keynote date since 2012, mapped the patterns, and there's a level of certainty here that's honestly unusual for a product that hasn't been officially announced yet. One thing I'll flag early, there's a launch split happening this year, and depending on which iPhone you actually want, you might not be buying anything in September. That part matters. We'll cover it toward the end. Let's start with the date. Every single iPhone since the 4S in 2011 has been announced in the first half of September. Every one, not late September, not early October. The window is September 7th through September 14th. The only exception was 2020 when the keynote fell on September 15th, one day outside the window. During a global pandemic, that one gets a pass. Now here's where it gets specific. Apple has a Labor Day rule. The keynote always happens at least 2 days after Labor Day because the day after is a travel day. Press, partners, staff, they're all flying into Cupertino. Apple has never held an event the morning after a national holiday. Not once. This year, Labor Day falls on Monday, September 7th. The last time Labor Day fell on September 7th was 2015. That year, Apple held its keynote on Wednesday, September 9th. So, September 9th, 2026, that's the keynote date. And from there, everything else follows like clockwork. Pre-orders open Friday, September 11th. iOS 27 goes live Monday, September 14th. Press reviews drop around September 15th or 16th. And the iPhone 18 Pro goes on sale Friday, September 18th. Write those down. Now let's talk about what's actually changing on the phone. The biggest visual difference is the dynamic island. Multiple leakers, including Ice Universe, The Information, and Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, all point to the same conclusion. The dynamic island on the 18 Pro is getting significantly smaller. Ice Universe specifically says approximately 35% narrower than the current 17 Pro. Here's why. Apple is moving Face ID sensors under the display on the Pro and Pro Max. Partial underscreen Face ID, which means less hardware needs to live inside that pill-shaped cutout. The front camera moves to the top left corner of the screen. Now, I want to be honest about under-display cameras. We've seen them before. Samsung tried it, Xiaomi tried it, and every time image quality took a hit because shooting through a screen is like looking through a window with the blinds half open. The question is whether Apple has solved what everyone else couldn't. Their track record of holding features back until they're actually ready suggests they might have. On the back, leaked images from a cyber attack on Apple's Indian manufacturing partner show a more unified look. Gone is the two-tone finish of the 17 Pro. The rear is reportedly cleaner, more singular. There's even a rumor of a subtle, transparent finish on the rear glass. Rumored colors: light blue, dark cherry, and dark gray. The coffee brown option, which honestly sounded kind of great, appears to have been scrapped. Okay, this is the part I genuinely wanted to talk about. The iPhone 18 Pro is reportedly getting a variable aperture camera, a mechanical iris. If you don't know what that means, here's the version that actually matters to you. Right now, your iPhone's main camera has one fixed aperture, one setting. The lens opening never changes. A variable aperture lens can open wider to let in more light in dark environments and closed down to keep images sharp and controlled in bright conditions. It's how real cameras have worked for over 100 years. We just haven't had it on a smartphone in a way that actually worked well. Samsung tried this in 2018 with the Galaxy S9, dual aperture in f1.5 and f2.4. The results were fine, not transformative, just fine. Xiaomi put variable aperture on the 13 Ultra and 14 Ultra with a large 1-inch sensor, and it genuinely worked well. Then they removed it on the 15 Ultra for reasons that remain honestly confusing. Apple's advantage here is computational photography. Their chips are already processing images before you even put the phone down. If the A20 pairs with a variable aperture lens the way Apple's silicon pairs with everything else it touches, this could actually be the real thing. Additional camera details worth noting. All iPhone 18 models except the 18e are getting 24 megapixel front cameras. The telephoto lenses on Pro and Pro Max get a faster aperture for better low-light zoom shots. The cameras are getting a real upgrade this cycle. Across the board, battery first, because it's the thing people actually care about day to day. The iPhone 17 Pro already surprised everyone here. In a recent comparison of battery life across 35 phones, the 17 Pro came out on top. The 18 Pro might push that even further. Weibo leakers are pointing to a battery above 5,000 milliamp hours for the 18 Pro, 5,200 milliamp hours for eSIM-only models that have more internal real estate to work with. That's a meaningful jump from where we are now. On the chip side, the A20. Apple is reportedly using something called Wafer-Level Multi-Chip Module architecture, which essentially means the RAM is built directly onto the same wafer as the CPU, GPU, and neural engine. Faster data transfer, better power efficiency, everything talking to everything else without the usual overhead. Pro models are expected at 12 gigabytes of RAM. Base models could land at 9 gigabytes, which analyst Ming-Chi Kuo says is sufficient for everything iOS 27 demands. One more thing on connectivity. The iPhone 18 is expected to use Apple's next generation C2 modem, and the information reports Apple is building full satellite phone capabilities, not just emergency SOS, actual satellite calls, actual satellite data. If that lands, it's not a minor spec, that's a category shift. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. Prices are going up. Tim Cook essentially confirmed it when Apple raised prices on Macs, iPads, HomePods, and Apple TV in the same cycle. Chinese leakers with a strong track record have reportedly confirmed iPhones are following. The culprit is a high-density RAM supply shortage. Some people are calling it Ramageddon, which is a very dramatic name for a very real supply chain problem. And then there's the device that changes the entire top end of the lineup. The iPhone Fold, also being referred to as the iPhone Ultra, expected to launch alongside the 18 Pro this fall, reported starting price above $2,000. Samsung has been at that price with foldables for years, but Apple entering at that price signals something different. They're not treating this as an experiment, they're positioning it as a tier above Pro Max, a new ceiling for what an iPhone costs. This is the part that changes the buying decision for a lot of people. Apple is splitting the iPhone 18 launch, the iPhone 18 Pro, the 18 Pro Max, and the iPhone Fold coming September 2026. The standard iPhone 18, the 18e, and potentially the iPhone Air 2, those are being pushed to spring 2027, February or March. So here's the actual framework. If you want the most powerful iPhone Apple makes, September is your window. If you're looking for the most accessible price point, if you loved the Air form factor, or if you just want a solid mainstream upgrade without the Pro price tag, you are not buying a new iPhone in September. That is a 2027 purchase, knowing that 6 months out is genuinely useful. It means you can stop refreshing rumor sites every morning. Go do something else for a while. One more honest note here. Bloomberg's Gurman has flagged that the 18 Pro could feel underwhelming compared to recent Pro years. The design is refined rather than revolutionary. Under display, Face ID is the headline hardware change, and if the variable aperture camera doesn't land the way the specs suggest it should, the real story of 2026 might be the Fold, not the Pro. So here's where I land. September 18th is the on sale date, almost certainly. The 18 Pro is shaping up to be a strong upgrade, especially if you're on an iPhone 16 Pro or older. The variable aperture camera is the feature I'm watching most closely. If Apple executes it the way their computational photography track record suggests they can, that camera module alone could make this the most capable iPhone shooter ever made. The battery numbers are encouraging, the dynamic island shrinking is overdue, under display Face ID is a real visual change if the front camera quality holds, and full satellite connectivity is not a footnote. But the Fold is the wild card that could reframe everything. Here's my honest recommendation. If you're on a 16 Pro, this upgrade is worth it. If you're on a 17 Pro, wait and see how the Fold reviews land before committing. And if you were eyeing the standard iPhone 18, set a calendar reminder for February. I'm genuinely curious where you're landing on this. Are you buying in September, holding out for the Fold, or waiting until spring? Drop it in the comments. I actually read them, and because I know some of you are already wondering, yes, I'll be reviewing the 18 Pro the moment I get it. Full camera tests, real battery benchmarks, and a straight answer on whether that variable aperture is a genuine photography breakthrough or just a spec that looks better on paper than it does on your photos.